life is not a 2D graph, it's multi-dimensional. It requires like multiple dimensions when you measure like forces and vectors and acceleration and energy motions, and it has multiple motions that it can undergo as well for lots of objects and even particles. The motions may have a set standard formality based on how they travel, but they may take different paths that lead to maybe different directions. Rather than just motions, you may take on a three-dimensional direction. So may be a constant motion in a variable three-dimensional direction. So there's all kinds of dimensions. Like dimension can be really almost any property or attribute. So like 3 dimensions is only the beginning. Like technically there's multiple dimensions. And I don't mean multiple dimensions of time. I just mean multiple geometrical dimensions. And there are other kinds of dimensions, but not necessarily in time. And if there is multiple dimensions in time, it's on the outside of our universe or the inside of particles. That's where your dimensions are. Your inner dimensions and your outer dimensions. You can't have any other dimensions. There's no dimensions in space, really. Space is void. So space might not be void. It supposedly has vacuum, but we don't know exactly what space really truly is. We know that it's emptiness and things travel through it with a permeability, but it has vacuum. It permits light to travel through it at the speed of light in a vacuum. So there are multiple dimensions in the world. No real simple graph really describes the what we call the motion of an object. You can't really plot a couple of waves on a graph to describe the motion of a group of objects in real life. Nothing really actually is directly solidified either. It has particles. It's all made of particles, and it basically is nothing but particle communication, or distribution rather. So how that works is based on some known measurements and some unknown things about some claimed measurements. Like 2 things I have a problem with right now in my life with physics. The only 2 real true problems that I'm having is the concept of gravity as space-time curvature, and the concept that light actually waves. I don't believe that light waves, and I don't believe that gravity is because of the curvature of space-time. As a matter of fact, what the hell is space-time anyway? A volume that has time? Well, all volumes have some kind of time unless there's space. So how can you have space-time? Space doesn't have any time. It has nothing. Unless it has an object of energy in it, it doesn't have time. It has to be in motion. The definition of time is the motion of an object. Okay, relative, usually also relative to a frame of reference. So it doesn't matter about the reference even. It's just the motion of an object. That equals time. And then space is nothing. How can you have space and time? We do. We are space and time. But space doesn't mean shit. Space means nothing. Who cares if there's space or not? If the system was exactly the same without space, it still wouldn't matter. So, what you have no reason to make the claim that gravity is because of space itself and the motion of an object. It's just simply the motion of an object. Space-time doesn't mean jack shit. It's just the motion of an object. You need to realize this. So technically, gravity is because of the motion of an object, yes, which is space-time. But the curvature of it is another elusive principle or attribute that probably isn't proven. Nobody has really truly proven this, but curves, they probably happen somewhere. We just don't know where. So, in truth, by the true physical definition, geometrical definition of particle existence, space-time is the real reason gravity exists. But what you need to know is that is a misconception, because what you need to know is that everything is made of particles. Space-time is nothing but made of particles, and space is nothing that we know of. Okay, so really, gravity is the motion of particles. It's that simple. Einstein played a trick on you when he made this claim. He played a trick on physicists. He used a phrase that is misunderstood to mean what would be commonly understood to trick people. You don't understand what a genius can do when he gets pissed off. Okay? The truth is that it's all particles. Okay? This video should be called The Truth About Quantum Physics.